Okay, so I'm a fan of Ted Lasso. I'm a big fan. I came to the party a little bit late. I think a lot of people did, but the first two seasons were out already by the time I started watching it. But I really, really enjoy the show. I wish Apple would have plans to bring it out on Blu-ray, but I know they're not going to do that. And I've been really enjoying season three. But there was something in episode nine which they do occasionally. It's not all the time, but it's occasionally. It's kind of a pet peeve of mine. It's usually not that big of a deal. But here in episode 9, I just was thinking, oh, he really didn't need to do that. So it's in the scene where Colin comes out to the team. And then after that, Ted gives this very nice, poignant speech about when he was younger and a friend of his came out. And his reaction was the same as the team's to Colin, which was, that's okay. I don't have a problem with that. I don't care. However, the guy was then by himself the next 2 years watching the Super Bowl. But Ted wasn't there because, as he said, he didn't care. Now, I don't know how much of it was Ted, how much of it was his parents, or it could have just been because he was a young guy. But someone had a problem with it. Now, Ted tells this story, and then afterward, Colin says, Coach, did you just compare being gay to being a Denver Broncos fan? And then Ted does what is kind of a common occurrence in the show. He backtracks and he says, oh, yeah, sorry about that. I didn't mean to say that. I shouldn't have done that. When in reality, that isn't what he was doing. He wasn't comparing anything. I understand him saying what he said because Ted has a tendency to kind of make points in a roundabout way that don't really make sense to anybody else. My problem just comes down to interrupting this really nice moment with a silly joke, which they feel they have to do fairly regularly. Maybe not a joke so much as adding some levity and breaking out of the moment too early, in my opinion. It probably would have been nicer and flowed better if they just didn't have Colin say anything and then Jamie says, what's a Denver Bronco? They get into that, and then Ted makes his point. All in all, I thought it was a very good episode and one of the best episodes of the season. But I also do get kind of tired of these really nice, poignant moments, broken up by little jokes here and there, or little backtracks. That's really what it is backtracking. It seems like what they're saying is that since Ted doesn't have firsthand experience of Colin's life, that what he has to say has no value. And that goes against what the show is about, which is that everybody matters. You should see everybody's point of view. Be curious, not judgmental. But they're very consistent because these things tend to happen more in Ted's scenes than, say, Roy Kent's because they're much different characters. Regardless, that's one issue I have with this episode and the show overall, but it's relatively infrequent, so that's not a big problem. I still really love the show and I wish it would come out on physical media. I know Apple would not do that. They don't have plans for that, which is very disappointing. But I'm really pleased it's out there. I'm pleased that I have access to it. It's a really great show, well written, one of the best shows out there. And then Shrinking, which is a show also written by Brett Goldstein and some other creators of this show. And the theme song is written by the same two people. Shrinking is also a wonderful show. I would recommend that one. So those are my thoughts on that moment. It's just a little pet peeve of mine, but if that's it, then we're kind of good. Tell me what you think. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.